A violent home break-in shocks a local family. The East Hills Mall auction goes into a different direction this morning, and the remembrance of D-Day begins around the world. This is 17 News at noon.
Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us. I'm Maddie Jansen. A terrifying morning for a local family when a man armed with a hammer broke into their home. This morning, just after 8 a.m., the family called 911 when the man forced his way into their home off College Avenue and Oswell Street. A mother and her children were inside. The woman grabbed a gun and fired a round at the man. Kern County Sheriff's Office PIO Angela Monroe says he sustained a minor wound and was taken to the hospital. The mother and her children are all safe. If you have any information, call KCSO at 861-3110. The long-awaited auction of the old East Hills Mall property has been canceled. After 4 postponements, it was supposed to go up for auction on the steps of City Hall this morning. Earlier this year, a notice of default was issued to developers who stopped payments on a $7.5 million loan for a redevelopment project at the property. As for what's next for the 350,000 square foot blighted mall, we're still waiting to find out. All right, let's check on that Wednesday weather. Today is supposed to be the day. How's it looking outside, Kev?
Hot and hot and hot. It's already warm out there. Rosedale and Mohawk right now. Not a lot happening. The lunchtime commute underway. A few clouds in the distance, but that's where they will stay throughout the afternoon. Right now, we're at 94 degrees in Bakersfield. No winds to talk about, so that doesn't help much. And as we take a look at the overall day and the temperatures, we'll be in the upper 90s this afternoon. Again, I do expect us to hit the triple digits in between there. By 9 o'clock, clear skies and 90. Currently, we're at 81 in Tehachapi. We have a light wind out of the west at 5. Throughout the day, we'll be looking at the mid-80s and then slipping back into the 70s as we head into the 9 o'clock hour with just a light wind out of the west at 6. How long will the triple digits be around? I've got the details on that coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Kevin. Bakersfield police officers are cracking down on people driving under the influence. The department held a DUI and driver's license checkpoint last night on Ming Avenue, just a few blocks from the Valley Plaza Mall. Officers screened more than 800 cars and arrested one person for driving under the influence. VPD says that person is prior DUI arrests. Officers also cited 22 people for driving without licenses and 10 others for driving with suspended licenses. Making news around the world, memorial ceremonies started today for the 75th anniversary of the D-Day invasion, June 6, 1944. President Trump joined leaders from the countries involved in that invasion at the place where it all launched, Portsmouth, England. NBC's Jay Gray reports from Normandy, France, where the ceremonies are tomorrow.
Good afternoon. You know, the commitment, the courage, and the sacrifice of so many from D-Day is evident, really overwhelming from the moment you set foot on these solemn grounds. Today, those soldiers, sailors, and airmen honored from the place where tens of thousands left for the invasion, Portsmouth, England. President Trump, the Queen of England, and dignitaries from all of the allied nations gathering as part of a elaborate ceremony there, one to honor the survivors and remember those who gave their lives. President Trump today reading from a prayer that President Franklin D. Roosevelt shared in a radio address during the invasion.
They will need thy blessings, for the enemy is strong. He may hurl back our forces, but we shall return again and again. And we know that by thy grace and by the righteous of our cause, our sons will triumph.
Final preparations underway here, and you can feel a bit of a tension with the crews trying to get things together, wanting to make sure that everything goes off just as planned, that things are perfect here to honor so many who gave their lives. That is the latest from here in Normandy, France. I'm Jay Gray. Back to you now.
Our coverage of the 75th anniversary of D-Day continues tonight on NBC Nightly News. Lester Holt will be live in Normandy. You can watch Nightly News right here on KGET at 6:30, following 17 News at 6. Here at home, the Kern County Museum's marking the 75th anniversary of D-Day with a special lecture. Historian and author Dr. Craig Luther will speak about what happened in France on that day. The Young Marines will escort 3 local veterans who plan to attend. It's happening at 6 o'clock tonight at the museum on Chester Avenue. Making news around the state leaders say President Trump's words and ongoing trade disputes with China and Mexico could threaten California's economy. Lieutenant Governor and former U.S. Ambassador Ilani Kounalakis joined economic experts in warning lawmakers that tariffs with China and soon Mexico could put several state industries, including ag, wine, auto, and technology at risk. 20% of jobs in California rely on trade. Governor Gavin Newsom says he's concerned about what President Trump's words could do to the economy.
And he's putting us at real risk. It's the aggregate, not just the individual, the determination of a policy in Mexico, but in the aggregate policy in China that I think puts us in a vulnerable position, one that is rather unfortunate, and I hope he comes to his senses on this.
While Newsom and other state leaders are vowing to continue speaking out against the trade policies, House Minority Leader and Bakersfield Congressman Kevin McCarthy has other thoughts.
I noticed the conversations with the leaders in Mexico as well have been very productive. I'm very hopeful. That's why there are no tariffs right now. We have to June 10th. I think if they are able to help us along this border, there will be no tariffs. And that's why this meeting tomorrow will be so important.
McCarthy expressed confidence that the new trade deal, meantime with Mexico and Canada, will be passed once House Speaker Nancy Pelosi calls it up for a vote. He says it will bring more jobs to America and put the country on a level playing field with China. Meantime, President Trump tweeted this morning his support, or his thanks rather, to McCarthy for his support. A big ask in Kern County showed up in a big way yesterday. The kickoff for the community-wide blood drive was a huge success. Houchin Community Blood Drive posted up outside of our studios here in downtown Bakersfield all day yesterday. With 2 mobile donor trucks and plenty of food and giveaways, we invited the community to come on down and help us kick off the month-long effort. During the summer months, the blood bank typically runs low on supplies since people are out of town and schools are not in session. Yesterday, 161 donors were registered and 137 units of blood were collected. Of those, 47 were first-time donors. Again, yesterday was just the kickoff. The drive lasts all month long thanks to presenting sponsors Adventist Health and Kaiser Permanente. All donors this month are entered to win a $2,000 grand prize Disney vacation plus weekly $100 giveaways. 26 groups have signed up to hold mobile blood drives as part of the effort. You can also just stop by and donate at either Houchin location on Truxton Avenue or Bold House Drive. By the way, there's a mobile drive happening tomorrow at Motor City Buick from 10:30 a.m. to 2 p.m. if you want to head out. We're back now in your 17 Health Watch this afternoon. Not all neighborhoods are the same when it comes to how long you may live. Researchers from New York University studied the life expectancy data among the 500 largest cities in the country. In 56 cities, there were 20 to 30-year life expectancy gaps between neighborhoods that were just a few miles apart. The gaps occurred more often in cities where neighborhoods tended to be more racially or ethnically segregated. Chicago had the largest gap at just over 30 years, while the Indianapolis suburb of Fishers had the smallest at just over 2 years. Dietary supplements may pose some serious health risks, especially among children and young adults. That's according to a new Harvard study. It showed supplements for weight loss, muscle building, and energy were linked to nearly triple the number of severe medical events in young people compared with vitamins. Supplements for sexual function and colon cleanse doubled the risk of serious health problems. Experts recommend talking to your doctor before taking any type of supplement. A freak accident is leading one Texas family to unexpected blessings. At 9 months old, little Cameron Stewart suffered a traumatic brain injury when a deer mount fell off the wall and the antler impaled her skull. She needed emergency brain surgery and months of therapy, but doctors say her recovery has been nothing short of a miracle, and it's helping other children in the process. Bianca Castro reports.
Okay, throw the ball. Woo! Good job!
It's hard to believe that fewer than 18 months ago, Cameron Stewart was fighting for her life.
I didn't know if Cameron was going to make it through the surgery. But if she does, I'm going to do everything I can, and we'll make it work. We will make it work. Whatever I'm given, we'll make it work. Jump on the hook and ladder truck. Ding, ding, ding.
But it meant Cameron's mother, Audrey, was responsible for hours of physical, speech, and occupational therapy every day at home.
And that can become really hard for a mom and for a toddler to sit down and work now on these 3 different therapies for hours a day. It's just unrealistic.
So when doctors told her about sensory play, Audrey says she dove right in. Sensory play is playtime designed to stimulate the senses, which enhances cognitive development.
For me, it was very easy to find items for 5 and up, but it was 5 and under that was really hard. And I had a 10-month-old that I was trying to create sensory for.
That's when Audrey started building her own sensory boxes for Cameron. Colored rice that encourages creative thinking.
Yeah,
Play-Doh scented with essential oils, and age-appropriate toys for hearing and other senses.
I could buy things, but I'd have to buy 10 of them or 20 of them or a 5-pound bag of rice, and I always had extra. And so that's where I started making multiple boxes.
Doctors don't know if Cameron will make a full recovery, but Audrey says every day there are signs of progress, and now more unexpected blessings.
This is a pretty cool part of her story, and I can't wait for her to be able to tell this story as well. Do you know how to dip?
Bianca Castro reporting. Stewart's business is called Let Them Be Little Boxes. Pretty cool. We're back now on your 17 Business Watch, and stocks are surging for a second day in a row on hopes of a Fed rate cut. The Dow up 177 points so far in trading. The Nasdaq up 27 at last check, and the S&P 500 up 16. Oil prices, however, are falling today. West Texas Intermediate selling for $51.60 a barrel, and Midway Sunset started the day at $60.48 a barrel. Almost half of American workers say they're moonlighting. That's right. According to a new report from Bankrate, 45% of American workers say they earn extra income on the side. This includes both full-time and part-time workers. About a third of those with a side hustle say they need the extra income to pay regular living expenses. Others say they use the money for discretionary income or to boost their savings. The growing popularity of app-based side jobs may play a role, with almost 80% saying technology plays a role in their ability to make extra money. Sephora says it will close more than 400 stores today to host inclusion workshops for its employees. The beauty products giant will take a few hours to train its 16,000 employees about the brand's values. The company-wide training will include employees in Sephora's retail stores, distribution centers, and corporate offices. The temporary store closures come at a time when consumers are becoming increasingly aware and averse to discrimination in stores and restaurants. You may soon see more sponsored advertisements on Instagram from so-called influencers. The social network announced changes to its Facebook-owned platform that would allow brands to promote influencer content in people's feeds, even if they don't follow that account. According to Ad Age, the company has been testing these ads since last year. The ads will look similar to those already found in Instagram feed stories, but will be labeled paid partnership. Instagram has about 1 billion monthly active users, according to the company. Instagram says the move is in response to brands' desires to better target users and offer a more organic ad experience. Imagine a hike through the woods where you could eat most of the plants you come across. That's exactly the idea behind the restoration of a forest on Bainbridge Island, which sits just across from the Puget Sound from Seattle. It's sort of a cross between a farm, a free snack bar, and a forest. Amy Moreno has the story.
A trip into the forest is usually food for your soul. But what if nature's bounty could make this an edible ecosystem for more than just the birds?
A food forest is basically an edible park. So it's a place where you can walk along our snack trail that we're planning to build, and you'll see blueberry bushes and apple trees and nut trees.
It's not the first time a community has turned public land into a feeding space. But with plans to utilize a large portion of the nearly 14 acres, it's expected to be the biggest in the country.
It can be a living classroom where people can come and learn how to grow their own food and go back home and practice sustainable agriculture.
The site was an old Christmas tree farm that was given to Bainbridge Island on the condition it would never be developed.
And this portion over here is actually part of the overgrown Christmas tree area, so you can see some of the different larger trees.
It'll take significant work to get the land ready. Several invasive species have moved in, and they want to restore a creek that runs through the property. They're still in the planning and fundraising stage, but hope to start adding raised beds and some trees to snack on within the next year.
We hope that the food forest can be a replicable model that other communities can look at and utilize themselves.
It will all be free for anyone to enjoy and take home, meaning a walk through the park could now feed both your soul and your stomach.
Organizers plan to leave a lot of the forest as open natural space so that the trails remain a habitat for wild creatures. They say having more food growing on the island could help when there's a natural disaster as well.